10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday night. So you know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Competition Plus Power Hour. My name is Darren Williams Jr., but making his Power Hour debut, to my right, this way, my man, Dujanay Bland. How's it going, Dujanay?
I'm doing great, man. I've been excited for this one. I've been really up for this all day, so it's pretty awesome to be here tonight.
Pinch hitting for the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. He is out tonight, but filling in, like we said, is my man, Dujanay Bland. So, Dujanay, just to get the audience up to speed, just kind of fill us in on your background in drag racing, on all kind of the work you've done in the media side of things.
Well, I got my start, I guess it's been several years now. But really, I'm an NFL guy. Been watching drag racing all my life since I was a kid. Got an opportunity from Scott Smith, came in, and it's been a go ever since. Really cover a lot of things on podcast. We do a little articles, but I like podcasts better. I think people respond better. They can listen to it whenever they want. And this is just a new age. A lot of people don't read long articles anymore. So, we're going to be coming out hopefully with a new show here end of July, early August, called The Not Bland Show. And we'll be leading with NHRA up until it's time for the NHRA to go bye-bye. That's even during the regular season. When the regular season starts for the NFL, we will be leading with the NHRA. So I'm super excited about it. But, man, it is really an honor to be here and be able to fill in for a guy I think is a pioneer of the sport in Monday Morning Racer.
And man, we're glad to have you on here, the Competition Plus Power Hour. You're very knowledgeable of the sport and know your stuff. So I'm glad to kind of, go off and go back and forth with you and talk a little drag racing here tonight. And just one more thing on that. You've actually been in the NHRA media side for about a decade now. You've been here for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while and it's gone by fast. I still think I'm a small guy that, I'm hungry and still fighting to, continue to make a name for myself and continue to represent the sport in a positive way and give the fans, honest and true breakdown of things and the way I see it. So, but yeah, it's been a while. It seems like yesterday though.
And like you said, we're going to break down some stuff tonight. We're going to recap, what was an amazing weekend in drag racing. We had the final NHRA Mile High Nationals, the final race from Bandimere Speedway up on Thunder Mountain. It was a great way to send out the final race on Thunder Mountain. So we're going to break it down in just a little bit. But thank you guys all for tuning in to this special edition of the Competition Plus Power Hour. It is Tuesday night. We're talking everything drag racing. My name is Darren Williams Jr., along with my man making his Power Hour debut, Dujanay Bland. And we got two great guests for you guys here tonight. We got your Pro Stock winner from the final Mile High Nationals, the driver of the yellow and black Dregs, Chevy Camaro, Troy Coughlin Jr. And there was also Nitro Chaos this past weekend at Mocan. Rachel Curl, also Rachel Meyer. She picked up the win in a field, in her A-Field dragster. She will be joining us here tonight as well to talk about her win at Mocan and Nitro Chaos. So thank you guys all for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to like this show and share this show and let everybody know we are talking everything drag racing here on this Tuesday night. So Dujanay, let's jump right into it. Like I said, the final race on Thunder Mountain, Bandimere Speedway, the Mile High Nationals, the Dodge Power Brokers NHRA Mile High Nationals. And man, how about it? Let's start off in Top Fuel Eliminator. Clay Milliken gets the win, 5th win of his career, 2nd of the season. That is second most in the class. Great job by Clay Milliken, Jim Oberhofer, and the rest. That Parts Plus, Rick Ware, Top Fuel team.
Absolutely. Like I said on the Inside the NHRA show, I just think Jimmo just got to trust himself. What they showed in Chicago, I understand there's different parameters. There's a whole lot of changes with these cars, engine-wise, the whole nine. But at the end of the day, that car was super consistent all day long, lived in the 80s, and Clay was driving his butt off, leaving on people. And I think if Jimmo can just trust himself, trust his gut, go with what he knows, and kind of get his feel back, he can get his swagger back. I think they can really make some noise here and make a charge to try to be right in that top 5 to be contending for a championship.
And like you said, it's all about the consistency because it's pretty much been feast or famine for Clay Millican this year.
Yes.
It's, he's going out first round a lot, but when he gets out of first round, he goes on and wins the race, just like in Chicago.
Right. It's wild, ain't it? You don't really see that much when you go out first round. I think he had like 8 first round dives, and then when you don't, you go all the way and win the race. I don't think we've seen that too much here in drag racing. I don't know. Maybe in the last 10, I don't know if we've ever seen it, but it's wild that it plays out that way for him.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can build off of that. I thought Chicago, they would be able to build off of what they did there, but I'm hoping now, and as they stated, Bruce Reed will be there helping them through the rest of the season. And I think that's going to be another person that he can kind of, Jim O can bounce ideas off, kind of get his comfort back, and start to trust himself a little bit more. And I think we're going to see a better performance out of this Parts Plus Top Fuel dragster here as we go forward.
Hey, you know what they say? His mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call his mom. I said it wrong. Here we go. His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. That's how you say it, right there.
That's
Clay
right.
Millican. I say it on every show. But in all seriousness, though, everybody's gonna say that the run of the weekend was probably Brittany Force's 372 at 337 miles per hour on Saturday night. Track record speed, almost a track record ET, which is also held by Brittany Force 371. But that's a full 7 miles per hour that she broke the record. Nobody thought we were going to see 337 on the mountain, but just what a great way to send off Thunder Mountain with that type of speed. But the real pass of the weekend, run of the weekend, had to be that 379 by Clay Millican and Jim Oberhofer in the heat in Q3, and they just built off that. Like you said, lived in the 80s on Sunday, built off that, and got them a Wally.
Yeah, very good point. I when I saw that number in Q3, I was like, yep, I think they're going to have something for these boys this weekend. We've seen that. I think it was in Chicago. They had a similar run. And I think it was the last run because I don't even think they were in the show. They go up, they put a nice number on the board, and it seemed like they had found something at that point, and they were able to build off of it and take that into race day and transpire that into a Wally.
Congratulations to Clay Millican. He takes home the final Top Fuel Wally from Bandimere Speedway, Thunder Mountain, and the Mile High Nationals. But in the final round, he took on Doug Coletta. Doug Coletta advanced to his first final round. Can you believe this? Since Houston 2021, came up just short in the final round. The drought continues for Doug Coletta. Dujanay.
Unfortunately, yes. I will say this. Both, all the Coletta cars really performed above what they have been all season long. Again, we've got to figure out why we're having these phantom tire smokes at the most inopportune time. Because to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the mishap, he doesn't even make it to the semis. So it's like we've got to figure out why this is happening because they run so. Again, another race where they ran consistent. They were out there just dialing it up all weekend long in qualifying.
Didn't smoke the tires all weekend. And
then all of a sudden, out of the blue, we get tire smoke before we get to 60 feet. It's happened a lot this year. I think if you look at the history, this stuff dates way, way back for Alan Johnson. And I don't know exactly what it is, but you know how I feel about it. When the defense is giving you something and they're pressing the perimeter and trying to hold you back from shooting a three, but giving up the lane, you take the lane and try to dunk it or get a layup or get an easy 2-point basket. They have been running in the 80s all day long. Now, would them duplicating what they did in the semifinal round, giving them an opportunity or would have beat Clay? Maybe or maybe not. But you know what? It's the Rob Passy rule, right? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to load it up for what I know I can do. And I know I might not be able to run with you ET-wise, but if you slip up, I'm going to be there to get you. Why not do that? Instead of overloading it and trying to run what you haven't really run all weekend long and smoke it up and not even give yourself a chance. What if he drops a cylinder midway? Everybody was doing it. Most people were dropping cylinders all day long. Just give yourself the opportunity to do it. Give yourself the opportunity to be there in the end and just maybe One slip, that's all it takes. And you're through there, and the light comes on for you. So that's just my only thing. I hope they can start to build and get to more final rounds. Doug Coletta deserves that. He's a guy that deserves that. He's one of the best. And unfortunately, as we move forward, the competition is just getting so good around him. So it's made it a little bit more difficult to chase this championship. But yeah, you got a great team. I mean, they got the czar of the playbook over there. So they just got to put it together as we talked about earlier, and we talked about with Clay. It's consistency.
I hear everything you're saying, and credit where credit is due, though. All three Coletta cars make it into the semifinals. You got one car in the final round. But like I said, for Doug Coletta, Alan Johnson, and that whole Mac Tools team, not smoking the tires all weekend long, you qualify number 2. And it's just, for me, I think it is. And somebody commented this on my Inside the NHRA show last night, and he said that Alan Johnson has always said that he'd rather smoke the tires for going for it than getting outran. And I remember Alan Johnson actually saying that. And so that's just what he lives by. And you got to understand, too, from when I take it, like we mentioned at 379, not saying Clay would have repeated that in the final round, but they knew he could do that in the heat.
Right.
Which was the time he ran that time was around the same time they ran the final, or probably a few hours after that. So Alan Johnson, he's never scared. He always goes up there and runs it hard. And like I said, he'd rather go up there and smoke the tires and get outran. And I guess that's just what he did on Sunday afternoon.
I can understand that. I mean, if you look at, some of the great coaches, whether you're talking about in basketball or football, a Phil Jackson or Bill Belichick ain't going to take it laying down. Phil is not going to take it laying down. So I understand your point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love the football analogies today. I love it. But let's now take a look at this final round, though, between Clay Millican and Doug Coletta from Thunder Mountain.
They stage him up. Doug Coletta smokes the tires. 387, 299 miles an hour, and look at the Parts Plus guys going crazy. Clay Millican said this morning, twice we won first round, and last time we won the whole thing. I'm going to step on that loud pedal 3 more times today, and 3 more times is what he did.
Can take in this moment, and you're going to go watch that highlight back. Your team was going absolutely nuts on the starting line, including your sisters. You just said, I have the last Wally from Bandamere. How extra special is that?
I tell you what, it's pretty dang incredible because you can only do this once, and I'm sad that this is the last one, but holy moly, am I so proud of everybody that makes this team go. Thank you, Rick Ware, for believing in us. So proud my sisters were here. First time they've been here when I won a Wally, and I love all of y'all folks. I love this group taking pictures. My buddy Freiberger's here. My PFI Speed buddies are here. It's amazing. We just won another Wally.
Yeah! Better buy a couple of plane tickets. Your sisters are going to Seattle.
I love the emotion from Clay Millican right there, picking up his 5th career Wally in the NHRA. And we all know he's had much success, great success in the IHRA. So before we move on from Top Fuel, though, Dujane, a legend, a Top Fuel legend and Funny Car legend, a legend all around, as far as NHRA all around and Funny Car racing, Top Fuel racing, Kenny Bernstein was on the property. As you can see, I got my cool Kenny Bernstein poster right up here.
Yeah, that thing's awesome.
Yeah. How cool is it to see Kenny Bernstein on the property coming back to the drag races, actually?
Yeah, it was really nice to see him. And I wish we could see more of the greats, show up a little more often. But it was really nice to see Kenny because you don't really see him that much, unlike, other people we get to see a little bit more regular than him. And it was nice for him to be there. It was nice to hear him on the mic. Breaking it down, just breaking it down like he always has. One of the great minds of the sport and one of the great drivers of the sport. It was awesome to see him. And I'm sure you guys were able to, since you were there, you were able to, be a little bit closer and be personal. So, yeah, I know it had to be a pretty, a nostalgia moment.
Kenny Bernstein, one of the greatest to ever do it, has won championships and races in both Nitro Funny Car and Top Fuel Eliminator. 4 championships in Nitro Funny Car, 2 in Top Fuel. So great to have the King of Speed, the Bud King, Kenny Bernstein, on the property. Got about 15 minutes until we bring on our first guest, Rachel Curl. She is your 8th field winner from Nitro Chaos at Mocan Dragway this past weekend. But before we do that, we got to break down Funny Car and Pro Stock Motorcycle. We could do Pro Stock when we bring on Troy Coughlin Jr. Let's now move on to the floppers. Nitro Funny Car, and Matt Hagan, he gets the win, 47th career win, 4th of the season. Here's your points leader. But I mean, #1 qualifier, almost a track record ET with that 389 on Friday night. Yeah. Courtney Forrest still holds the track record with a 388, but #1 qualifier, won the Mission Foods Challenge, won the race. For a Dodge driver, not a way to end off the Dodge Power Brokers NHRA Mile High Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could have written a script that would have been as good as this. One thing about Matt, the guy attacks everything that he does. Mm-hmm. And it was very clear where he's got a great team over there. They are very well-oiled machine. They fight for each other. Although they were missing a crewman, they were able to still get it done. They moved some guys around and were still able to get that done. And, what's even more awesome is that sometimes your crew chief can't save you, and he was able to go up there. He brought Stormbreaker to the to the starting line, chopped the tree down, went that 008 and helped his guys out and took one for his team. So all around good for them. And I think this is something I know you had said earlier about APB out on him. We found it.
Yes,
and he's back. I think it's going to be all right. He's going to be right in the thick of things, and it's going to be a slugfest.
Yeah, like I said yesterday on Inside the NHRA, I got to apologize to Tony Stewart Racing, Matt Hagan, and the whole team, Dickie Venables, for saying got to put an APB out on them since after their win in Vegas. You haven't heard from them, but last 2 races, went to the final round of Norwalk, came up short to Blake Alexander, but picks up a convincing win here on Thunder Mountain, the Mile High Nationals. And so, Bujanet, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do we give the APB to now in Nitro Funny Car? Who do you think? I know what Drag Racing Central is going to say in the comments.
I'd have to. It's a few though. I mean, I could say J.R. Todd. I could say Bob Tasca. I mean, there's a few. I don't know if there might be a conglomerate, right? Like we may need to get a task force to find a few of them.
I got you. But for Matt Hagan, like you said, did his job on the starting line. In that semifinal round against Ron Capps, that was a long tree. That was a very long tree. And Hagan said it. He got lucky, and he, like you said, chopped it down, 008. He went for it, and then got the job done in the final round. And very emotional weekend for him as well, because this was the birthday. It was his mom's birthday weekend. His mom passed about 6 months prior, and so this would have been her birthday this past Saturday. So that was heavy on his heart, heavy on his mind, and went out and got the job done and won the final Dodge Power Brokers NHRA Mile High Nationals behind the wheel of that Dodge Charger. Couldn't ask for a better
sponsor.
Story.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Amazing. And here's your points leader now going into the next race in Seattle. Just want to talk about Alexis DeJoria real quick before we move on. Has had a great race car all year long. Probably the best car that hasn't won yet in Nitro Funny Car.
I agree. And it's a combination of both. Like everything isn't perfect. It's not all on her, and it's not all on the crew chief. It's just been a combination of things. This weekend though, late a lot. Got to step that up. Can't be in the ones and win races. But there are also times where the car just isn't there, and she is. It just, like we've talked about, at some point, it's all got to come together. It's got to marry together at some point. But I do believe you're 100% correct. That's the best car out there in that field that has not won yet. And I think it's just a matter of time. It's coming.
I got you. Let's take a look at some comments now before we move on to breaking down Pro Stock Motorcycle. Drag Racing Central, who's from the Philadelphia area, he says, just got to say rest in peace to Acco Dragway, which is in New Jersey. Was just announced that place is where I found my passion for drag racing. So super sad day for him. Acco Drag Racing just announced they are shutting down effectively immediately after about 60 plus years. And in operation. And my favorite drag race announcer of all time, Bob Fry, he actually got a start there at Echo Dragway. So I know it's tough for a lot of fans in the Northeast. The old Summer Nationals in the IHRA. So tough deal right there. Scott Malpis says, what's up? What's up, Scott? Thanks for tuning in. And Nicole Clark says, hey, dude. Giving a shout out to you, man. Mr. PF Flyer says, I just heard Echo Dragway, New Jersey is closing at the end of this year. Super sad right there.
It is.
Andrew says, I want to know how Bobby dropped a nuclear bomb in the rumor mill on Friday and nobody has even noticed. What was the rumor mill? I'm not sure. I have to go and check that out.
Yeah.
Dang. And then Lee Kraft, the Monday morning racer, he's tuning in. He says, hello, gentlemen, rolling through Wyoming. Hey, Lee is always on the road. He's always on a drag race. Every weekend.
I'm telling you.
I want to be like him. I want to be like him when I grow up.
Me too.
Nicole also goes on to say, thank you for Rick Ware for investing in the team. Hey,
Amen.
Can you say Rick Ware 5 times fast?
Rick Ware, Rick Ware, Rick Ware, Rick Ware, Rick Ware, Rick Ware.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about 10 minutes away from bringing on our A-field winner from Nitro Chaos and Mocan Dragway this past weekend, Rachel Curl. She got the job done in her A-field dragster. She's coming on in about 10 minutes, so bear with us. A few more comments before we move on. A lot of people talking about Echo Dragway. So let's now move on to Pro Stock Motorcycle. Gage Herrera, like we all know, started off the year hot. 3 number 1 qualifiers, 3 wins. He was dominant. Then went through a little bit of a low, had some adversity. But for that young man to bounce back up on the mountain, not get rattled, stay locked in, and pick up another win up on the mountain, man, super awesome for him. 4th win of the year, 4th of his career.
Yeah, it says a lot about his skill set and his ability to kind of just regroup, not let things get to you, keep a clear head, do the things that you know how to do, and go out and execute. He's ridden things that are harder than this. I think a little bit of the setback also, I call it the Gage Herrera rule, adding the weight there may have thrown some things off, but and also the fact that he beat himself, that was a whole nother thing too. And what I appreciate from him is you can, especially in Pro Stock Motorcycle, they react so fast. Mm-hmm. You can red light and then it becomes a thing because now you're thinking about it. Mm-hmm. You're trying not to red light. And with him being so quick on the tree, you could easily have gotten a little slow and being a little timid. But we didn't really see that from him. And he's come back out and just kept going steady with the way he's been doing things. And he's going to be a tough beat, man. I do think there are going to be some bikes that will eventually get there and challenge. But right now, he's the king of the mountain.
4th win of the year, 4th of his career. And as you guys all know, this is the first time that anybody in Pro Stock Motorcycle can sweep the Western Swing because they'll be at all 3 races here in 2023. I want to talk about Hector Rana Jr., though, because back-breaking run. He didn't win the race, but back-breaking run on Friday night with that 704 and had a great 708 in the final qualifying session. The record coming in, the track record was a 709.7 by Matt Smith from last season. So he broke it twice. Bad, fast bike coming off that win in Norwalk. I'll tell you what, Hector Rana Jr., he's not somebody you can sleep on.
No, I think they really got something here, and they're showcasing it. I think they've been showcasing it since last year. I will piggyback off your guy, Mike Davis, and I'll say that he's got to get it together on the tree. He can't be fearful, can't be timid, because there's a history there. I think your guy, Mike Davis, pointed that out on inside the NHRA. Where when it's time to step up big, he comes up small. So he's got to fix that. And I really do think, though, they're pretty confident in what they have. Now it's just a matter of going out as a rider and rinse and repeat. And if he can do that, he's going to challenge. It could be a Vance and Hines, Arana's little duo here coming down the stretch.
The Hectors versus the Harleys, like back in the day, like we talked about yesterday.
Back in the day.
And he mentioned that, getting on his game. We saw that in the first round of the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge when he went up against Matt Smith, had a way better bike than Matt Smith leading up to that. Matt Smith, basically struggled big time on Friday, and Matt Smith kind of got in his head, turned on both bulbs, backed out of the beams, and kind of got in his head and Hector Ramos Jr. turned on the red light. So, like you said, just got to kind of stay focused. You know, he has a bad, fast bike. Just got to stay focused and get the job done. But I definitely think he will be there. Speaking of the 6-time world champion, Matt Smith, how long do you think before he gets this thing turned around and is back in championship form?
I say give him 2 more races because nobody works harder. You think you think he's resting? Mm-hmm. No. Mm-hmm. That guy's never resting on his morals. That dude.
I think we lost Dujane Bland. A little technical difficulties. Well, while we get Dujane back, let's now take a look at this Pro Stock Motorcycle final between Gage Herrera and Angie Smith.
The final 2 Pro Stock motorcycles in Mile High history. Red light start. Angie 003 red and a 710 exclamation point for Gage Herrera. That bike today has been stunning. For Mission Foods, Vance and Hines, Gage Herrera adds his name to the list of people that have won on the mountain on Vance and Hines motorcycles.
Gage, Andrew Hines is right there cheering you on. He was the first to give you a fist pump at the starting line, and you've been very honest with yourself about the mistakes that you have made. Describe the mental toughness it took to get that Wally.
Oh, it took a lot, you know. I put a lot of pressure on myself after the last 2 races. You know, I had a little bit of bad luck, you know, and to be able to bounce back from that and get the win here at Denver, you know, it's the last race here, unfortunately. It's a very beautiful facility. Hate to see it go, but, you know, the whole Van Size Mission Suzuki team, you know, they worked their butts off, and after Friday, you know, we had to put our heads down and get after it. And I can't thank Andrew and the whole team enough. So glad. Thank you.
Congratulations to Gage Herrera on that Vance and Hines bike, 4th win of the year, 4th of his career, and he is your points leader in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Okay, Dujane, so we got our guest, Rachel Curl, in the green room. She is your 8th field winner from Mocan Dragway, Nitro Chaos this past weekend. Let's get a few more comments, go to break, and then bring her on. So get back here in the comments right here. Mr. PF Flyer says, I got my Brainerd, Minnesota Lucas Oil Nationals ticket order in today with our Napa rep. It will be my first full week off since before 2020. How awesome is that, man?
That's awesome.
Zero time at the drag races. I like it. I like it. And Andrew says, the rumor is Pro is going to have a big money race for Top Female Funny Car and Pro Stock in February. $250,000 for Top Female Funny Car and $100,000 for Pro Stock. Oh, wow.
Well,
okay.
I need to rent a bike.
I definitely want to check that out. Okay. And
yes.
It says in February. So I wonder if they're going to move the Winter Nationals back to February. I mean, they should, you know, being a Southern California guy here in LA. You see the sun's still out, you know, here in LA. It's probably dark. It's probably dark where you're at.
It is. I like Gainesville though.
Yo, the fans came out just like in Bandamere this last weekend. The fans come out to Gainesville.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
And I'll tell you, it took me about 30. It didn't take me long to get to the racetrack, but once you got to the racetrack and tried to park, it took about 30 minutes because there was so many people. Yeah. It was packed, man. Sold out.
We were like that too. It was like that. I showed up early and still basically was late.
That's a good thing. That's a good problem to have, I would say.
It is.
For drag racing. Good problem to have. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, your A-field winner from Nitro Chaos this past weekend at Mocan Dragway, Rachel Curl. We'll be right back.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Rachel, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour. How's your night going?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's going pretty good so far.
Well, first off, we got to say congratulations on the win this past weekend out at Mocan Dragway, Nitro Chaos. And, obvious first question to ask, I saw on social media, you said it's your basically home race. So just how special was it to win that race, home race in front of the family? Just how special was it for you?
It was really special. I've been racing at that track since I was in juniors, and me and Megan went to college right down the street from it. And so that's where we'd go bracket racing when my dad was off racing NHRA stuff. So it meant a lot. My husband's family was out there. That's actually the track that I met my husband at, and my whole family was there, and some aunts and uncles and cousins came out. So it was pretty awesome.
Kind of a full circle moment, I guess you can say, right there.
Yeah, it was.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Definitely. That atmosphere of having family. And I saw your quote about the NHRA versus this Nitro Chaos and the feel and the fans. Could you explain that to people who have never been?
What was that last part?
You had a quote about the NHRA and how they treat, and then you had a quote about how that feel of Nitro Chaos is the family feel and how the fans really show and are there and enjoy all of the cars that are out there.
Yeah, so even when we weren't running, you'll see fans in the stands all the time at Mocan just to watch local bracket racers. Friday nights, people will just bring their street cars out and just have fun at the track. So it's definitely more of the small track atmosphere where the fans are there to watch all the race cars, not necessarily just the pros or the fast cars. Because sometimes it's a little, I don't know, I guess a little sad whenever you're running right after the pros and everyone's leaving the stands, and we're still pretty fast cars, and so it's just nice to see the stands packed full of people. And yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has to make you feel good for sure.
Oh yeah.
I love that small town. I came from a small town. MIR is my track, Maryland International Raceway. So I understand that where everybody knows everybody and they just love cars. It doesn't matter whether it's Nitro or whether it's just two guys that built some cars in the garage and are out there just, slugging it out.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you what, A-Fuel alcohol dragster in general does not get enough, credit for how great it is. You talk about the performance they're putting on just in the NHRA right now with Julie Natus, your quote-unquote teammate, Tony Stewart, Jackie Frick, everybody in the class right now. I mean, they're putting on a show, and it's great to see you guys, be on the forefront in Nitro Chaos because it's not just A-Fuel cars, it's fuel alters, AA fuel alters, it's front engine top fuel dragsters. Nitro Chaos is where it's at, and you guys put on a show. And you guys put on a show this past Sunday because of the rain. I got to talk about it. So you and your sister both have to take out AA fuel alters in the first round. And it's the sister act in the semifinals. You get the job done. She beat you at the last race in Eddyville. How good was it to pay her back a little bit right there?
Oh, it was really good. I don't know if you saw Saturday night, we called each other out for our last qualifying hit because I was sitting number one qualifier. So my dad had me sit out because he didn't think we could improve. And then Megan ended up passing me. And so we were second and third. And so we called each other out. And if I win, she was going to have to put Rachel's sister on her car for the last race. And if she wins, I have to dress up like a bee for the next race because I'll be working on her car and helping start it. And she's Queen Bee. That's her car name. So Saturday night, we ended up running each other, and it was a pedal fest, and she ended up beating me. So I really, really wanted to beat her Sunday because I was tired of losing to her.
So you said you have to dress up as a bee at the next race.
Yes, she has to pick out my costume, and I have to wear it the whole weekend, she said. So it'll be interesting.
I got you.
Too bad you didn't throw a bet on that last race when you won. That way it'd be equal.
I know. I was too nervous too, though, because every time I do that, every time I talk smack, it just bites me in the butt. So I kept my mouth shut. I didn't want to lose.
Well, you guys brought 3 race cars to the track. Obviously, you, your sister, and Matt Sackman in the 3rd car. Obviously, your sister is running for a championship. How tough is it knowing she's going for that title in Nitro Chaos, but then going out there and having to beat her, heads up right there, or you just don't care?
I mean, I want her to win, but I also want to win too. So I didn't really care because racing's racing, and it just makes for an even more interesting final race out at Lufkin because there's a handful of people that have the ability to win the championship. So she's really going to have to fight for it. Everyone is.
Yeah, I do a show on Wednesday nights called Kings of the Sport where we talk to a lot of front engine top fuel guys. And I know Gary Wheeler is heavy in that championship battle right there. And Joseph Gallegos, who runs another front engine top fuel dragster. So it's going to be a battle at Lufkin. It's going to go down right down to the wire.
Oh, yeah. It'll be cool to be there and watch it.
I know some racers on race day, after they at least get out of the first round, they have this feeling of what kind of day they think they're going to have. Was there ever any feeling that that after the first round, you were like, this is going to be a pretty decent day. I think I can get to the final, and I think I can be at the end of this thing with a trophy?
I didn't quite get that feeling. I don't know. I was just hoping that my car would keep making good passes A to B. And I know that there was a lot of cars out there running pretty good numbers. So I knew it was going to be a tough weekend, especially against the Bull car. They were running really good all weekend. So I don't know. I didn't really get that gut feeling that like it was going to be my day. So yeah, it felt good to come out on top.
And mentioning the Bull, that's Todd Bruce in the Bull A-Field dragster, tough car right there. He actually won the Nitro Chaos opener at Edgewater earlier this season. I want to ask you, because you mentioned you'll be tuning on Megan's car out at Lufkin for the championship finals. Just kind of break down that whole dynamic. Because like I said, it's 3 race cars, but you tune your own race car, and so you also tune your sister's car. Does Randy have any input at all on any of the cars?
He does. I'm trying to learn it all. So he does most of it. I'm just here trying to like take pointers and learn some of it. So at like the first race and this last one at Lufkin, he'll have the other 2 race cars, I think at Charlotte. So that's why only Megan is driving. And since he won't be there, he's going to have me go there. And I honestly like learning a lot about the cars, and I like trying out new things. So getting to start it is something new for me, and I didn't do too bad at the first race. So hopefully I remember what I'm doing at Lufkin, and hopefully we can get Megan that win.
All right, so I'm gonna put you on the spot. Are you more go for it, Alan Johnson type tuner, or are you more of the Dick LaHaye, let's be more conservative? Who are you kind of more like? Alan Johnson?
I don't know. I feel like it depends on if it's qualifying. The first pass qualifying, I'd say take it a little easy, just try and get A to B. And then if you know you're kind of in the safe spot, then go for it. And when you're going rounds, I feel like sometimes you just have to look at who you're running against and how they've been running all weekend to kind of determine like, we really, really have to go for this, or just making sure we have a safe pass and knowing our driver can get off the line good. Maybe that will be good enough to win. I don't know. That's kind of my thinking. But then you don't want to lose because you played it safe. So it's tough for sure.
I got you.
What's the hardest thing about tuning?
Well, I'm still learning it all. So I think the hardest part is just looking at the graph and determining what you need to change to try and get your car to run better. Because I feel like there's so many different things that can play into it. And that's where my dad has so much knowledge on that I'm still trying to learn from him and understand. And I still have a long way to go.
Well, let's kind of go round by round now from Mocan Dragway. First round, you took on Donnie Massey in the AA Field Dragster, 358 at 222. Great run right there, right out of the box. And then going up against your sister in the semifinals, 366 at 223. And then you put it all together in the final round. Big speed, 227 against the Bull, Todd Bruce, 351. So all around, a great weekend for you right there. Congratulations, like I said, once again, on the win. So looking ahead, to Lufkin, Texas in the championship finals, you know, you guys could run into each other once again. You know, I'm pretty sure no team orders. It's going to be heads up. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, well, I won't be driving at Lufkin, unfortunately.
Oh, you won't be driving? Okay.
No, my dad will have the other cars at, I think, Charlotte. So it'll just be Megan. Yeah, so I wish I was. I miss it a lot. I only was able to do 2 races this year, so I'm done for the season, unfortunately.
Ah,
Yeah.
Will you be looking to do more races next year?
Hopefully. It more depends on how many drivers we have sign up and what weekends they want to race first. I'm kind of one of the last to be able to pick, but being a new mom and all, I don't mind not traveling too much right now. Traveling to 4 races is a pretty good start. You know, I don't want to be gone too often, and traveling with a little one by yourself can be a lot of work sometimes.
Yeah.
and I'll tell you what, Rachel, just to go, how badass of a driver you are. I was in Vegas a few years ago, 2021. You and Jackie Frick final round for the championship. Championship on the line. That was just a badass run for you right there. It just goes to show how much of a great driver you are. Take us back to that final round. Just everything that was going through your head, the emotions, just the nerves. Take us back to that final round right there. Championship on the line.
Oh gosh, I was so nervous. I just wanted to kill the tree, but I didn't want to be red. And I knew Jackie was running great that weekend. And we were sitting in the water box. And unfortunately, the funny cars in front of us had a little minor oil down. So then that made us sit there even longer. So then your anticipation and your nerves are building up even more. And I just kept singing a song to try and like calm my nerves down. And I ended up cutting a pretty decent light. I got a little bit of a head start on Jackie, and I never saw her, so it was a good feeling to see that win light come on. And then the weekend after that, I got married, so it was like 2 great weekends back to back. And yeah, I wish I could relive that day so many times.
What was the song? You gotta tell us what the song was you were singing.
I can't even remember the song right now. I can't remember.
I got you.
Being that you don't get the race nearly as much as you would like, I always wonder, people say that after they make their little first run from being out for a while, that it's like getting back on the bike. Is that the feel that you have as well? Like once you've made that pass, you're like, okay, I remember how to do this.
Oh yeah. I was definitely really nervous this year at Eddyville because that was my first time back in the car in almost a year and a half. And I was just nervous I was going to forget to do something. But honestly, once we got the car started, it's like all the nerves just went away and my routine just kicked back in and it felt like normal again. So it was a pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
We got a comment here from Jim Moody. He says, congratulations to you on your win, Rachel, and Team Myers double up win. So
Thank
talking
you.
about Matt Stackman getting the B-Field win out of Nitro Chaos. And then Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer, says, Rachel made me run. So what are you talking about right there?
So at MoCan, they have 3 turnoffs. And my dad told me don't take the last turnoff. And that's where Lee was at, waiting to interview the winner. And so I took the second turnoff. So he had to run a pretty decent amount there. And I felt really bad because you just see him running through the field headed towards me. And he got there, but I felt bad.
It's all right. He's been working out, so he was able to handle that.
What's it like working with Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer? Always have to see him after every pass, after every win. Just get annoying a little bit seeing him all the time. That redheaded beard right there.
No, honestly, it doesn't. I like having him around. He's a pretty good guy.
I got you. So talk a little bit about your sponsor, Gunk, because they have stepped up this year, not only sponsoring your sister, but you as well. Just kind of time to talk about what Gunk is and everything they've done for your race team.
Yeah, so Gunk has helped us out for years, but this year they really stepped up and wanted to be mostly Megan's title sponsor and then sponsor me for the 2 races I was doing. And they really like the fact that we are both girls who work on the cars, get our hands dirty, aren't afraid to get dirty. And that's why the quote is on my car, "We like it dirty," because Gunk has they have amazing hand wipes. I highly recommend them to everyone. I work on the clutch every pass, and those get my hands pretty clean. And they also have some spray to clean your car off with and some grease remover. They just have a lot of great products, and we're very thankful to have them on board with us this year.
How awesome is that? You drive and are able to work on the car. When little girls come up and see what you guys are doing, what do you feel like when they're watching you and they're asking you questions, as they are, especially little girls are very curious?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, actually, it's funny you say that because my stepdaughter is 8 years old, and she kept coming up to me this weekend and asking if there's anything she could do to help. So I actually had her jump in, and she was my little clutch assistant, and I taught her how to run the impact and how to put some nuts on, and she got dirty with me, and she helped out. So I'm really thankful for Chloe for having that interest. It's pretty cool that we could bond that way. But, I just tell everyone, just follow your dreams and work hard and you'll get there someday. Just don't give up.
That's awesome.
We got another question here from Andrew. He says, what's more pressure, driving or tuning?
I don't know. As a driver, you can't mess up. Like if you're late on the tree, that's your fault. If you're red, that's your fault. If you do a bad pedal job, that's your fault. But I feel a little bit, I don't know. I think both are pretty hard. I don't even know how to answer the question, honestly. I feel like a lot of the pressure lies more on the driver, to me personally.
I was in Bandimere this past weekend, and I was in the media center in this small little room typing away, and Matt Hagan comes in with his girlfriend and PR people, and he's doing an interview with Speed Freaks, and they asked him, there's like, what's more challenging, a driver or crew chief up on the mountain? And Matt Hagan flat out said, oh, it's all on the crew chief. Like that's more pressure because he's the one making all the calls. And I just have to drive the thing. That's the easy part. Having to, make those last minute decisions. That's where it's at right there. That's what makes the big bucks. So Matt Hagan says tuning is where's the most pressure is at right there.
I mean, yeah, I can see that too. Like I said, my dad does a lot of the tuning. So he has so much knowledge from all the years he's been doing this that I trust him to give us good cars that will go A to B and just hope that we can do our job too.
And, you mentioned your dad, Randy Meyer, a legend in the sport, former top fuel driver, former top alcohol dragster driver, one of the best to ever do it. You talked about you were nervous, in that final round matchup against Jackie Frick, championship on the line. Well, I was in the media center looking on during that final round, and he's the usual. he was ready to go. he wasn't nervous at all.
I know. I don't know how he doesn't get nervous. Him and Megan both are able to just calm themselves. They wait last second to get in the car. I'm not like that. I have to get in 3 or 4 pairs back. Like I'm in, ready, getting focused, calming the nerves, getting my mindset. I don't know how some people do it.
Did you say?
I would say, are you a seat of the pants driver? I know some drivers say they can actually hear like how the car is running and can gauge all of that. What type of driver would you say you are like during the pass?
I say I'm more feel. Like I can, like my first pass on Saturday, first qualifying, I could feel the car moving around some. So I knew like the tires were spinning a little, but nothing where I would want to get out of it. And then I've had some tires shake real bad that it's like, oh shoot, get out real fast and get back in it. I'd say I'm more feel of the car than hearing it.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
And so Megan's car isn't NHRA legal, but your car is, correct? Or they're both not NHRA legal?
They both should be NHRA legal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the car Megan's driving was the one that we both won the championship in.
Gotcha.
So it should still be legal, I would think.
Gotcha. I heard through the grapevine that, it was kind of, prep more towards Nitro Chaos. And I'll tell you what, that final round, I think it was Eddyville the last race. That was some big header flame coming out that dragster in the final round.
Oh, yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
So that's why fans need to stick around.
Got to put you on the spot right here. Okay. You've had some big wheel stands so far this season. Tell us about these wild rides you've had so far this season here at Nitro Chaos.
Yeah, so that one, I don't know. I'm not going to lie. My very first pass back in the car, I took a second to adjust and realize what was going on. And by the time I realized it and was looking forward, I was like, wow, I can't even see the track anymore. So then I decided to lift. Like the car was still going straight, but it's like, I don't want anything bad to happen. And then the second time, it was kind of the same deal again. I'm like, oh no, we got wheels in the air, got to get them down. But they got some pretty cool shots of that. So that was kind of cool. I'm thankful nothing bad happened, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, we are too. But that's a great looking photo right there. And,
yeah.
I asked Brandon Bernstein. So final round, Chicago 2004, he faces Doug Coletta. Doug Coletta goes out there, sets the quickest ET ever, 4:42.0. Well, Brandon Bernstein, he was on a great run himself, but he has wheels up in the air. And I asked him, I was like, what was that ride like? He was like, basically, wheels went up in the air. I saw a bunch of sky and I lifted. He was like, I want no part of that.
That's exactly what I thought too.
No part of that.
Is that a split second thing where the car comes up? It happens like in a blink of an eye?
Oh yeah, it does. Because mine, I think both times mine happened just as soon as I hit the gas. And I think you're just so used to looking for the scoreboard that by the time you realize that your wheels aren't even touching the ground anymore, it's like, oh no, I need a lift. But it is, I mean, it kind of seemed like it wasn't very long. It didn't feel like that long, maybe a second or two, maybe a second and a half.
So question. Before you have a family, you're a mother now, before all that happens, if you're in that same situation, do you think maybe I'll stay in it a little longer?
No.
Okay.
I don't ever want to risk hurting the car or hurting myself. So no. I try not to be too aggressive, especially if it's just qualifying. Mm-hmm. Now, if it was race day, I don't know. I'd probably try and get back in it quicker or something, but no, not during qualifying, not in those situations.
I agree. And the only reason why I ask is because a lot of drivers say their perspective change, once they have kids and have family and stuff like that. But before that, they're so aggressive that they probably, probably would stay just a little longer. So that's why I want to ask.
Yeah.
Got a question here from Dave W. We got to ask. He says, Megan has said no thanks to Top Fuel. Would you like to jump in one and compete like Randy did?
I think it'd be awesome to drive one, but I don't even want to think about how much money it would cost to run one. The money is a big factor there. If somehow someday I got a huge sponsor to be able to drive one, I'd probably try and go for it just to see how it felt to go that fast. I think would be an awesome thing to experience in my lifetime, but I don't know that I would ever really race it full time. Racing takes a lot out of you whenever you also have a family that you're trying to spend time with. And
yeah, that's a hard thing to juggle. And,
it is.
Fine line, definitely.
Well, Rachel, like I said, congratulations on the win this past weekend at Nitro Chaos, Mocan Dragway. Badass win, A field winner, and then you double up with your teammate Max Sackman. He gets the win in the B field. What can we look forward to next for Rachel Curl? Obviously, like you said, you're tuning at the final race at Pine Valley Raceway, Lufkin, Texas. But what's next on the horizon for Rachel Curl?
I really don't know. Right now, I'm just focused on bracket racing. I'm giving foot brake a try. So been doing that for a few races right now. My husband built a new car, so he's letting me drive his old one, his Duster. So probably going to do that for the rest of the season. And I don't really know what next year holds yet. Hopefully I'll be able to do a few more Nitro Chaos races.
Gotcha. Let everybody know where they can follow you and, follow you on your journey.
You can follow me on Facebook at Rachel Meyer Racing and Instagram as well. And then you can also follow me and Megan on the Rainy Meyer Racing Facebook page and Instagram too.
Okay, hold on. One more question is coming in from the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. Lee Craft just sent me a text. He wanted me to ask you this, so just end off it right here. For Rachel, this is from Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer. Will Megan and Rachel be exchanging Christmas cards this year? I don't know why you asked that. You wanted me to ask you. I don't know.
Probably still. We don't ever get too mad after a race. We try and let it all go.
We're just joking. Well, Rachel, thank you for taking the time out to joining us here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. And like I said, congratulations on a badass win this past weekend in Mocan. And best of luck to you tuning-wise at the next race at Pine Valley Raceway, the championship finals in Nitro Chaos.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Wow. What a great interview we had with Rachel Curl, your A-field winner from Mocan Dragway Nitro Chaos this past weekend. And man, like I said, Dujane, I was there in the tower a few years ago when it was her against Jackie Frick, top alcohol dragster on the line, 2 A-field cars, 2 ladies going at it for the championship. And she chopped down the tree and got the championship. And Randy Meyer doing his usual clap right before they stage. And Rachel, just a great driver behind the wheel of that A-field dragster.
Yeah, they've got 2 of them. Both sisters are something else behind the wheel.
And also they have Julie Natus in the NHRA. She's running for a championship up right now against guys like Tony Stewart and stuff like that. So just overall, Randy Meyer Racing, a great organization, and they put out bad, fast race cars. So didn't do this when we started off the show. Let's take a look at that funny car final from Bandamere this past weekend.
Remember this moment. The last 2 in the history of the Dodge Power Brokers Mile High Nationals. Hagen, 413, 304 miles an hour. After the mountain beat him up and beat him up and beat him up, he came here in 2021 and finally conquered the mountain.
Matt, you have been racing with purpose off and on this track this weekend. What will that Wally represent?
It's massive. I mean, the last Wally here, my mom's birthday weekend, all these fans out here, this is a Dodge event. It's a Dodge trophy. It doesn't get any better. We won the 2 tasty deal, #1 qualifier. Dickie Venables is a bad man. He's a badass. And all my guys, they do a great job. I can't be here without my guys. So thank you. And thank you to all these fans that showed up and showed out. Woo! Yeah!
47th career win for Matt Hagen. He is one of the best to ever do it. 4th win of the season. He is your points leader heading into Seattle next weekend. Like we mentioned, Dujane, at the start of the show, a real emotional weekend for Matt Hagen. His mom's birthday would have been this past Saturday. She passed about 6 months prior, but very emotional win. But the Dodge driver, the driver of that Mopar Direct Connection Dodge Challenger, gets the win at the final Dodge Power Brokers NHRA Mile High Nationals.
Yeah, that was awesome. And you know something? I don't know if the fans were really paying attention, but on every run, on the same side, the same cylinder would drop.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even care. It was like, you know what? We're getting A to B. Let's rinse and repeat. Yeah, that was pretty wild, though.
Yes, it was. Well, a Dodge driver won a Nitro Funny Car, but the driver of the yellow and black Jigs Chevy Camaro won in Pro Stock Car. What am I doing? Troy Coughlin Jr., ladies and gentlemen, is up next.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Here's Jake Coughlin. His nephew may be a new face on the entertainment scene.
This is 10-year-old Troy Coughlin Jr., and he's a really good impressionist. Any idea who he'd be doing an impression of right here? Well, let me help clue you in. Guy's standing right over there. It's Brad Jeter, and this man had that same look on his face when John Coughlin punched him out in a truck race last year in Columbus. But, Troy, you've got more imitations in your repertoire, right? Show me one.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Uh-oh. It's a future broadcaster. I got to tell you, too, this kid does a really good ace, an excellent Ron Krischer, and maybe even his best one, Bill Stevens.
Back to you, Big Mac.
Well, I guess, you never know what's coming up. You're on board. Oh, my. Troy Coughlin Jr.
Troy Coughlin Jr., welcome to the show. Here's your Pro Stock winner from the final Dodge Power Brokers NHRA Mile High Nationals. Troy, we know you're a great driver, but is there reporting in your future after your driving career is over?
We can't hear.
You can't hear you. Can't hear you, Troy. Can you hear us? Little technical difficulties here. Stuff happens. Stuff happens. Hey, Troy, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah. He just unmuted. That's weird.
Let's see. So we can't hear you, but I wonder if he can hear us. Not sure. We got a comment here from Mr. PF Flyer. He says, Troy. Got a Troy fan, Troy Coughlin Jr. fan right here. Let's cut the commercial break one more time and let's see if we can get this technical difficulties fixed up.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our Nitro Burning Funny Car design or the vibrant Door Slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System, TDS, and steal the thieves' hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Competition Plus Power Hour here on this Tuesday night. Having a little technical difficulties. Funny comment right here from Mr. PR Flyer. He says, hold up a sheet of paper that says, are you muted? No, he's not muted. Yeah, Flyer. So we're going to bring him back on right now. Let's see if the problem has been fixed. Troy,
how about
can you hear
now?
us? Yes, there we go.
Gotcha.
I got you now.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for taking time out of your night to join us here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Like I just asked a second ago, I know you've seen the clip. We know you're a great driver and you have a lot more years behind the wheel of a pro stock car, but is there maybe some reporting in your future?
Oh, geez, I don't know about that. I don't know if I talk enough anymore. I guess when I was 10, I had more of a gift of gab, but today I don't know. You guys are a lot better at that than I am.
Do you remember that clip though with Dave Reef?
Oh yeah, I remember doing that like it was yesterday. That's wild.
That is.
Awesome. All the credit goes to Dave W, co-host on Inside the NHRA for that clip. I want to give a shout out to him.
For sure. One heck of a season here to the start. You got one win, you got one runner-up. You're 14-7, round win-loss record in 9 races. Has to feel good, especially after 2022. Your first 9 races were 6-8 round win-loss record and 1 D&Q. So a whole lot better in 2023.
2 wins.
That's right.
It's definitely drag. That's something about drag racing that's just amazing. Anything can change, anything can happen. There's a lot of moving pieces. Whether it comes to personnel pieces, parts. Everybody at Elite Motorsports, they work so hard to make these things work, and it's a lot of work with all the cars that we've added. And I think Mark Ingersoll and all the boys up in the lounge, they've just got this thing flying, and my confidence is really sky high in this car, and it's just an absolute blast to drive.
Fourth career win in pro stock, second of the season. You have 2 Mission Foods, 2 Fast, 2 Tasty Challengers wins. You basically swept the weekend also. You weren't number one qualifier, but you won the Mission Foods Challenge. You won the race, picked up the final Wally from Benjamin Speedway, Thunder Mountain. Couldn't ask for a better weekend. And also, I mean, you were on your game all weekend long. You were chopping down the tree. Just kind of talk about how locked in were you this past weekend? Because, I mean, you put on a clinic.
Oh, geez. Really, I really think it boils down to just having confidence in how great the car is, and just how awesome my guys had this thing set up and maintained and maintained and ready to go for the weekend. And that's extreme kudos to every single individual at Elite Motorsports. And it's just, it's fun when you can get into that zone, in that mode where you're like in a practice tree almost, to where you can just get in and hit it and make runs and try and be all you can be at that. And it just kind of lets you do your thing when you're not worried about it going to the right real hard or the left real hard. You're just worried about smacking the tree and banging all your gears, and it just lets you get into a zone.
0-20 in the first round of the Mission Foods Challenge against Dallas Glenn. Perfect reaction time in the final round. This was Saturday night. I was like, kind of looked like you surprised yourself a little bit, and then you picked it up on Sunday. 0-12 in the first round against Aaron Stanfield. 0-18 in the second round against Greg Anderson. 0-11 against Erica Anderson in the semifinals, and then 0-15 to close it out in the final round. I mean, just spectacular performance on the tree this past weekend. I know Dujanay has the actual averages of this past weekend for you.
No, go ahead.
Through 8 passes this past weekend, your average was an 0-14, courtesy of our guy and historian, Dave W. I have an even better stat. So you have 21 runs. You have 1 red light, 20 green lights. Your average reaction time through 9 races is an 0-36. Killing it.
Well, we'd like to lower that for certain, but which, I mean, that's the name of the game. I mean, in pro stock, you got to be on your toes. Look who we're racing. Dallas Glenn. I mean, he's that guy. He can be 007 to 11 every hit as well. Erica, same deal. You got to be on your toes to run these guys. So, and that's the fun part. That's the beauty of the class. So, I really appreciate the homework on the stats there. So, that's really cool. Thank you.
And you mentioned your teammate Erica Enders, and you get up for every round. So this is the obvious question, but Erica, lays down the track record in first round with that 691.5. So obviously has a great race car. She's your number one qualifier. It then goes out and has a 001 reaction time in the second round. I mean, just how much did you really have to get up for that semifinal matchup going up against the champ? Because I mean, it felt like it was going to be another Erica Enders just throw down weekend.
I got up on the wheel in the first round too against Aaron. He's just as tough. I mean, he's another sportsman bracket racer guy, and a Bob Glidden like of a guy that can pretty much chew anything under the sun. But yeah, absolutely. You're racing people like that all the time, and you just have to get up on the wheel and stay up on the wheel and really embrace that fact and get comfortable with just knowing that. And you almost have to practice that going into the race. This is who you're racing. You're racing somebody like an Aaron and Erica and a Dallas and all these guys that can be and will be teens and 00 at will. And just know that you're going to have to be within 100th or less or better and make a good run. And you just go out there and you don't really, you don't ask too much of yourself because it's nothing you haven't really practiced in your mind or in your practice tree. So you just kind of go out and do it and enjoy it.
It seems like that comfort level for you has started, as I've done investigation, started at the beginning of the countdown of last year. You were 11-5 through that ground win-loss record, through that countdown. And coming in from dating back to that time, up to this time, your 25-12 round win-loss record. It seemed like at the end of last season, you were really starting to get comfortable. And when we saw you in Gainesville, seemed to have that same comfort level. You just seem to be really at ease, very calm, and just going out and doing what you do.
Well, I love doing it. I absolutely love being there. Just having a tech card in the Camping World Series and a Pro Stock car is an absolute honor. And, with the yellow and black colors, I mean, you can't beat it. What a wonderful brand to have on the side of a car. It's all I really know. So that fact alone is enough to pump me up. I mean, heck, I remember being, 19, 20 years old, fresh out of high school, didn't go to college. I went right into working from sales, even did sales in high school. But I remember working in the retail store, and we were stocking shelves in the back area. And I remember just the old music playing in the background, and was pushing around a cart, loading the shelves up, and just seeing all the old photos on the wall, my dad's old Cutlass, Jaggy's Cutlass, Mike and John's trucks. And I'm thinking, gosh, I'd really love to be out there. I would be honored to be in a Pro Stock car with the yellow and black. And, here I am. So you just have to remind yourself what you're out there for, and really embrace the love of the class and the love of the brands that you're representing, and enjoy it and go attack it. You dig for it, go for it, because you only get one shot at it, so go out and get it.
Hey, Troy, I didn't go to college either. That's what's wrong with me now. That's why I'm so messed up. I didn't go to
I
college.
went to Jake's University.
I got you. I feel a few months of junior college for me, but that's about it. That's what's wrong with me now. But you mentioned your family. Obviously your dad, Troy Coughlin, Jag Coughlin, and all your family who's raced. And like we said, it's the final NHRA Mile High Nationals. Obviously, the Vandermeer family has done so much for drag racing. You come from a lineage and a great, family that has a lot of history. Any great Denver memories you can think of to share with us here tonight?
Oh man, several. The first time I ever went was 2000, and I'll never forget thinking, "Oh my God, I couldn't imagine climbing one of those mountains." For one, but in '99, I wasn't there, but my dad and Jag ran in the final, and I remember when I want to say Dad beat Warren in the semis. And I can't remember if Jag beat Kurt. I can't remember who Jag ran in the semis, but when they got each other in the final, it was just such a cool feeling. And just watching them two race in the final up there was just absolutely spectacular. And Jag ended up winning, and just absolutely surreal. But I think the first time on the property for me was 2000, and just absolutely in awe, not only by the scenery of the beautiful mountains, but just the way the Vandermeer family takes care of the fans, the drivers, the teams, just, the clean facility, everything's always cool. It's tradition, great faith. That's exciting. That's what drag racing is. It's very family oriented. There's a lot to learn in drag racing, and there's a lot of great career opportunities in drag racing, and they really embody that and embrace that spirit. So definitely, that's another huge honor in winning that race on Sunday. That's very big for me.
Yeah, so you mentioned 99. Your dad beat Warren in the semis on a hole shot, and then Jag beat Kurt in the semis. So it was the Jags versus the Johnsons in the semis. And like you said, they faced off in the final, and Jag got the win. So special moment in 1999 up on the mountain.
A lot of good times up there. That's for sure. I want to say, I think, was Dad 400? Was he perfect on the tree in the semis?
I forget, but if I remember correctly, I don't know if he was perfect, but I remember correctly, it was like a 734 to a 730.
Okay.
I don't remember the reaction times, though. Yeah.
Somebody was perfect, it seemed like.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a fan, too. I'm just as much as a fan as I am a driver. It's at this point, it's an absolute obsession. I want to get better at not only driving these cars, but just enjoying being there.
It's the history of the sport is just so amazing, right? We can go back in time and just watch stuff from the 80s and 90s and just learn all the history. It's amazing, ain't it?
For sure.
Now, you speak of family, and when I think of elite motorsports, I don't think you can say there's any bigger family than Elite. Just the way it seems like you guys work together, the camaraderie. And at the same time, I call you guys the bad boys of the NHRA and Pro Stock, because at the end of the day, you guys are family. If you mess with one, you mess with us all. So tell us a little bit about that family atmosphere and how that, really makes you feel about coming to work and being able to take care and do your job on the racetrack.
It's almost like a college football team. There's a lot of pride. It's a lot of fun. It is very family oriented. It's all for one, one for all. If I were to get beat first round, there's always another car in. My guys are immediately going to another car that's in, saying, "Hey, what do you need? Get you ready to go for the next round." Always helping hands. When we're going late rounds and another car's out, someone's always coming over to help us pack chutes, get the trans split, get a clutch cut. I mean, it's pretty cool because of the live TV windows. Sometimes it's tight. So the more guys you have, the better chance you have of being ready on time and getting up there quick, so NHRA's not hollering for you. So, you want to respect it because that's a great opportunity for your sponsors. You want to get on that live TV show and make the window and not be a pain for NHRA. So it's exciting. It's fun. It's a university-like atmosphere. It reminds me a lot of our old team when my dad and Jeg ran together and Mike and John ran the trucks, and just kind of my family. It's almost like it never stopped. It's absolutely exciting. It's a huge honor. It amps you up. Sundays we do national anthem. We're always together. There's a huge line. We're fist bumping before the race. It's a lot of tradition. It's very exciting. It's something to see.
And you mentioned the pressure, and I just want to ask you this because back, when your dad and uncle are racing, it's 90-minute turnarounds. Then it gets pushed down to 75-minute turnarounds in 2000. And all of a sudden, it's like you guys get 45, 50 minutes now. Just how much pressure is it to get that car turned around? Also, because you guys run like last in the semifinals, so you guys are pretty much first up for the finals. How much pressure is that trying to get the car turned around and back for that final round?
It's getting better at being streamlined, but we have a lot of guys too, and there's only 2 cars left in the final, and there's 8 of us. So I don't know. You're more prepared for it now that we've done it a bunch now. But hey, if you break something, it adds even more pressure. So, or if you need to make a change, a big change, if you're changing engine or something, but that's what everybody's ready for. Everybody's ready for that. Everybody's not just standing around nonchalant. Somebody's always ready to go. So that's what the work ethic of everybody at Elite Motorsports, from Mark Ingersoll, all the guys in the lounge, all the crew chiefs, everyone in the engine room, to all the car chiefs, every single individual there on every car, the work ethic is just unbelievable. It's very exciting. It's contagious.
4th career win, like I mentioned, and ironically, this upcoming weekend is the 1-year anniversary when you picked up your first win in Seattle last season. They always say the first one is always the hardest, but once you get that first win, the next ones become easier and easier. Obviously, it's never easy to win any race in Pro Stock, but for you, does it feel like the floodgates have kind of opened? Because, like we said, now 4 wins now, pretty much tripled that. What's the experience been like for you now winning races?
I just take it one race, one lap at a time. I'm just really honed in and focused on that race. A wise guy always once told me that the most important race of the year is the next race. So, I guess I've never really looked at it from that perspective. I've always just tried to go in with a game plan and what I wanted to do and what I wanted to accomplish. If there's anything I wanted to change from a driving standpoint, and go out and get after it. So I don't know. The first one, it's always a challenge, especially after a few runner-ups. You're like, man, I've just a couple thou here, a couple thou here. If I just would have done this, done that, not shorted the 1-2, or not run it up on the chip at the 3-4, or a couple here, a couple there, and you would have gotten it, or, something like that nature. But I guess I could see it that way, but one lap at a time.
One at a time, baby. One at a time.
What's the differences between driving on the mountain and driving at sea level? What are the different feels that you that you experience in the car as you're going down the track?
Well, on the mountain, you're going 690s and not quite 650s. So it's not, the initial hit isn't as hard, so to speak. You have a little bit less power. The 1-2 gear change is happening a lot faster on the mountain. So you're having to react a little bit quicker. You're trying not to buzz it up on the 1-2 chip when you're letting the clutch fly. So there's quite a few differences. It's pretty unique. That's what makes it fun. It's a challenge. You got to look at it as a challenge, and challenge accepted, and go for it.
Does the car ever feel light in the front? I know that the funny car drivers say that as they get down, it feels light as you get, mid-track and beyond.
I haven't really noticed that. That could be a factor, but I haven't really picked up on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great question, Dujane. That was actually what I was gonna ask next.
My bad.
No, it's all good. No, it's all good. I was actually curious about that, so I'm happy you asked it. Drag Racing Central says, and he's big on no prep racing and stuff like that. He says, "What does Troy think of what Paige is doing in NPK? Has he been to a race yet?"
I went to National Trails, and it was really cool. That's my personal opinion. I think that's really neat. I like all racing and all motorsports, just because it's anything wheel and tires. I'm in, and a motor for certain. I think it's great. I think she's doing a phenomenal job wheeling that thing. It's intimidating. Gosh, when I got to Trails Friday, it was like a fish out of water. It was just different. The everything, nobody really knew. To me, it seemed like the schedule was a little bit scattered, but gosh, the stands were packed, and there were so many different unique packages there, different power adders, different cars, the small tire, big tire stuff. Man, it was really cool. If you're a drag racing fan, it's worth being there. And Paige's deal with Golden Child cars, really fun to watch.
That car's beautiful,
isn't it? Though, Justin Bieber, they've done a fabulous job putting that thing together. It was worth the time that it took.
So, just going back a little bit, talking about 1999 Denver, like I mentioned, your dad beat Warren on a hole shot, I believe 734, 730, and then Jag beat Kurt in the semis. Well, we actually have the numbers here now. So, courtesy of Dave W., he says 1999 semis, Troy Sr. was perfect against WJ, 0.110, and Jag was 0.18 versus Kurt, 047, adjusted to today's standards. And then he goes on to say it was the only perfect light of his pro stock career. So thank you to Dave W. for those stats right there.
Interesting. Awesome. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. And he also goes on to say Jag at 4 for comparison. Loving the numbers here.
Jag made
Competition Plus.
Yeah.
Pops, he wanted to go a little faster, so he moved on to the pro mod stuff. So,
yeah. And we actually have another question here. Where is it at? Obviously, Andrew has to ask since you bring it up. He says, "Any chance you'll run Top Fuel again? And is the rumor for Jag making a return true?" Ooh.
Oh, geez. Well, on Top Fuel again, we'd need a fistful of cash. That is hard to find right now.
It is.
That's a whole different level of fistful of cash for Top Fuel, which it would be really neat, trust me. But gosh, the pro stock car is home. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I don't want to move on from it. I absolutely love it. I'm in love with it. Hard not to be romantic about it. Not quite sure on Uncle Jag's return. I think that would be really cool.
That'd be awesome.
I would be all in. I mean, who would be, right? I mean, if you would get to, I'm a competitor. I love to compete, and to get to be able to, which I did in 2020, to get to compete next to my Uncle Jag, and but to, get to compete with guys like Dallas, Erica, Aaron, all these guys plus Uncle Jag today would be majestic. That would just put the icing on the cake. So I'm all in if that be the case, but I haven't heard such rumor around home here in Columbus.
And you mentioned those names. Pro stock car right now is just fabulous. You have yourself, like you mentioned, Dallas Glenn, Erica Enders, Aaron Stanfield, Matt Harford, Derek Kramer. This is the best I've seen pro stock in quite a long time, and it's going to go right down to the wire for the championship, man. It's exciting to see the performance you guys are in pro stock are putting on so far here in 2023. It's amazing to watch.
It's a lot of fun. It definitely keeps you on your toes, and it makes it interesting. And gosh, it keeps everybody on their toes, whether you're in a dyno room or you've got a laptop out. So let's keep going. Heck, I wish we were going to Seattle.
Yeah, that would have been nice. It's this class has gotten so tight, and winning with your left foot is just as important as hitting your shift points correct. What do you do as a driver to see to it that what you do is consistent all the time? Kind of like a basketball player who goes up to the free throw line. He has this procedure that he does to make sure you don't change it. You do it exactly the same way every time so you can hit that free throw consistently. What do you do in the car that helps you be more consistent, especially in a class that is so tight, from top to bottom?
It just really starts at a practice tree in a simulator. You really just hone in on your routine, how you want to sit in your seat, how you want to feel, how the helmet that you like, how you like to sit in your seat. There's a lot of small things I'm sure that I really can't remember off the top of my head, but it's definitely a lot of feel. And I'm sure a lot of other drivers could elude even more details just because I'd have to get in there and feel it to really give you all the details. But as consistent as you can be and just doing the same thing every run, just like you're making a lap on a bracket car. It's the same theory. You're trying to be as consistent as possible so there's not as many variables for a tuner or crew chief. And so that's I just try and be as consistent as possible. And if you have a little change here and there, you don't try not to let it affect you. You just kind of make your lap.
Yeah, that was my next question, because sometimes, you could have an individual that comes up and he jumps in quickly. How do you keep yourself mentally focused so that you can continue to do your routine and not get rushed?
Well, that's just the thing. That's definitely an adjustment coming into pro stock is, the procedures are different. You're using a clutch to get in to the stage beams more so to where if you came from like a bracket car, you're bumping in with an automatic, like your left foot. And, it's just a little bit different. There's more going on. There's a lot more cognitive action going on. So your brain's working a little bit more. So the newer you are, the slower essentially that you are at doing these things. So the more comfortable you get, the easier that's going to get. But I think, it's and that the bracket racing experience does help here because you've staged a car. I've staged a bracket dragster probably hundreds of thousands of times. So go in first, go in last. That's fine. That's however it goes, it goes. I've staged so many times. It's like dribbling a basketball for Michael Jordan is. It's just however it goes, it goes.
Right.
It's all good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Troy Coughlin Jr., your winner from this past weekend's final Dodge Power Brokers NHRA Mile High Nationals from Thunder Mountain Bandimere Speedway. Let's actually take a look at that final round now between Troy Coughlin Jr. and Dallas Glenn.
And they're all down there thinking the same thing. Come on, my guys needs to win this. They qualified 3 and 4. They've been within 100th all day long. Will the starting line tell the tale? 4 thousandths difference in reaction time. 4 thousandths at this end. And 100th and a half at that end. Troy Coughlin Jr. for the win. 6.933, 196.
Troy Coughlin just said, man, that was a heck of a race. And there's been a lot of conversation about Dallas Glenn and Matt Harford. Why is your name firmly back in this discussion?
Geez, we got a long way to go to November, but Elite Motorsports, we're not going to give up. That's for darn certain. But Mark Ingersoll, all the boys in the lounge, everybody on this Jegs.com White Castle machine have this thing flying, and our people make this possible, and we love everybody.
Fourth career win for Troy Coughlin Jr. in pro stock car, the factory hot rods. And like you said, it's a long way to November, but I'm pretty sure championship is on your mind, man.
Hey, it's it's November's a good bit away, and we're taking it one lap at a time. But yeah, it's definitely a desire and a goal, and it's something we're definitely going to go after pretty hard.
Awesome.
Got a little bit of a break here. Any plans for the break to kind of take a little R&R, or are you going to keep staying at it and you're going to grind for the little off season that you got, the little off period you guys got?
I'd say between a little bit of practice in the simulator, and we're going bracket racing on Thursday. This weekend, we're going to the Ace race up in Dragway 42.
Awesome.
20 grand Friday through Sunday, a little bit of bracket racing. So take the dragster up there and try our luck.
That sounds like fun.
How tough is it not to be able to defend your Northwest Nationals title from last season?
I mean, it's strange, but you kind of want to go out there. Believe me, if I could, I'd be on the first Alaskan Airlines flight out there. It's tough to describe, but it's, hey, wherever NHRA says to go, we'll be there with bells.
Final question for me, and I'm gonna put you on a spot here. Were you able to snag me any of those red hats from the weekend? Red winter hats.
I'm sure we've got some extras somewhere in the trailer, but those things are awesome. The trucker hat.
Yeah, really good looking. Yeah,
way cool. Yeah, Mofo guys, they did a really good job with their race. Everything about it was awesome.
For sure, they definitely did. Any final thoughts, Dujane?
No, man, Troy, enjoy it. Enjoy the win. Enjoy going bracket racing, and hope to see you in the winner's circle again, buddy.
Well, appreciate the great words. Appreciate you having me on the show, and we'll give it our all.
Thanks, Troy. Have a great night, man.
Thank you, Troy.
Likewise.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Man, Dujane Bland, my man D Bland, what a show here tonight. We had your A-field winner from Mocan Dragway, Mocan Dragstrip Dragway, Nitro Chaos this past weekend, Rachel Curl, also a.k.a. Rachel Meyer. She got the job done, defeating Todd Bruce in the final round for that win. And also, lost my train of thought right there, defeating Todd Bruce in the Bull A-field Dragster in the final round to pick up that win. And then we had our pro stock winner. He picked up the final Wally from the Dodge Power Brokers NHRA Mile High Nationals, Thunder Mountain Benjamin Speedway, Troy Coughlin Jr. Man, what a great show.
It was. I learned a little something in the from Rachel. It's always a blast. Had an opportunity in Gainesville to talk to Troy there, and it's always a blast to talk to that guy. Just very laid back and very forthcoming. With information and just very conversational. Definitely a heck of a show tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people think that Troy's very quiet and doesn't really talk a lot. Well, that may be true, but he's actually pretty much a good jokester behind the scenes. He likes to have his fun. He likes to have his fun. I seen it in the media center. Yeah, he can crack some up.
He can. It's really cool.
Let's take a look at some comments before we get out of here. Scott Malpus says, next event in 3 days, no pro stock. And then Dave W says, good show. Got to give a shout out to our man, Dave W. Does a lot for drag racing, pulling out the stats, historical events, things that a lot of people don't think about. Got to give a shout out to Dave W. Go and follow his Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all that stuff. Dave W. Man does great work.
Does excellent work. Shout out to him for the assist tonight. And if you don't find his work, you can always see the work because I'm always sharing his work. That history this past week, he put on a clinic, and it's still on Not Bland 21. It's still there. Threads on Facebook. Check it out. Man, like I said, Dave W. put on a clinic this week.
He did, for sure. And Drag Racing Central says, Troy made himself a new fan today. How cool is that? That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And then comment here from Lipney New Production. I mentioned this last week. So he posts a lot of NHRA clips on his YouTube channel. I've been watching his YouTube channel, no lie, since about 2009, 2010. As a kid growing up watching drag racing, he'll post a lot of great clips from that era and stuff like that when I was in high school. So I want to give a shout out to him. He says, great show again, guys. Appreciate that from him right there. And also, one last shout out before I get out of here. I got to give a shout out to this man right here. Right here. Dujanay Bland. Pitch hitting for Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer. You did a great job, man. Happy to have you on this show. Very knowledgeable about the sport. Great dude. Thanks. Happy to have you on here tonight, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, shout out to the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. When he reached out to me to ask me to sub in, I was really taken back. Like I said, it really is a pleasure and an honor to be here and host with you. The things that Bobby Bennett has built here to actually, sub in on something that's been going for so long. I was really honored, and it's really been a privilege to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, man. Happy to have you on. Anytime, man. Anytime you want to come on, hey, just give us a call. We'd love to have you on anytime, man. It was awesome.
That'll work.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Hey, I say this. It's going to be one heck of a finish for the regular season in every class. I thought we said it last year that it was the best, drag racing we've ever seen, but it just keeps building. This year has been phenomenal. The jarring and the competition from top to bottom in every class. No gimmies. Even when you guys got guys like Lex June and Rob Passy and Terry Haddock come out, they're coming out and they're running A to B and giving these guys something to think about. It's just awesome to see. And like I said, we're right in the last half of this third quarter. We're going to have a short fourth quarter, only 3 races. And let's strap in tight, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be one heck of a ride.
Oh, it's going to be one heck of a ride. We have 5 more races till the countdown. Seattle, Sonoma, Brainerd, Topeka, and the U.S. Nationals. Yeah. Hey, man, it is go time. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty, the wire. It's about to get fun. It's about to get fun. Thank you guys all for tuning in to this another special episode of the Competition Plus Power Hour on Tuesday nights. It's your boy, Darren Williams Jr., along with my man, D. Bland, pinch hitting for the Monday Morning Racer. Thank you guys all for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Good night, everybody.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.